and welcome to another Sports Night interview. And today we are joined by our guest, Eddie Sefko, who covers the Dallas Mavericks for Mavs.com. And the Mavs are fresh off a 50-win season. They got hot in the playoffs, made a run to the NBA Finals, ultimately came up short against the Boston Celtics, but it was a great season for the Mavs. And, they picked up Klay Thompson in the offseason. So I want to start there with the conversation. This is a team that I mentioned won 50 games last year. They picked up Klay Thompson, 34 years old, though, Klay Thompson. They're not getting the Golden State version of Klay Thompson, but what is it that you think that, about Klay's skill set that you think he'll, bring to this team, and how will it all come together for this roster?
Well, you're right about Klay being older, and his best days are clearly, in the rearview mirror. But I don't think he's forgotten how to shoot the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I think he can do that. And even you go back, the Mavericks have a history of older guys who've come aboard and been able to shoot. I mean, going back to Peja Stojakovic in the championship season. And this is the best shooter they've probably had since then. If he can make some shots, if he doesn't have to be the hero, he doesn't have to be the number one option or even the number two option. He's going to get open looks with Luka and Kyrie running the show.
Yeah.
So, yes, does he have some things to prove? He has two serious leg injuries. So, he has to show that he can still do it on a consistent basis or even a semi-consistent basis. I mean, this team has not had any trouble on the offensive end the past few years. So, he's motivated. He wants to prove some people wrong. And I think he wants to show that he can win big out of the shadow of, who at Golden State.
Yeah, absolutely. And, one of the things I was reading, Jason Kidd spoke at, after some of the practices recently, and he said he thought obviously a big factor in that series last year with the Celtics was they didn't shoot the ball well enough. So they go out there and bring in one of the best 3-point shooters the game has ever seen. And I think that should definitely help things. Now, again, I mentioned it, 50 wins last season, added Klay Thompson. What are the expectations realistically for this team? What are they saying they can, what are they thinking they can do this year?
Well, it's not going to be a successful year unless they're back in the NBA Finals. They feel like they've got every piece they need. They are deep. They've got a lot of players fairly deep on the bench that have been starters and or key reserves in their careers, and they've upgraded a little bit on the defensive end. They feel like with Najee Marshall and Quentin Grimes. So they just are in go mode right now. They want to show that they've got this thing dialed up to where they're not just going to be a one-hit wonder in the finals last year and then fade away. Just based on purely on what we see on the paper, you have to like their chances. Now the West is completely loaded as always. It seems like. Oklahoma City is going to get better and better. Minnesota got better. I mean, it's a packed house out here in terms of teams that think they can do some damage. So it's going to be a lot of fun this regular season. I mean, we all know that the regular season can get tedious from time to time, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch this year.
Now, I think one of the challenges that this year's Mavericks team will face, that it's something they didn't have to deal with last year, and I'm sure this is something that Jason Kidd has spoke to his team about. They aren't going to fly under the radar against anybody like they did last year. Not that they flew under the radar, but they're going to have the bullseye on their back this year. They're going to be hunted this year. How do you expect this team to react being more of a front runner this year?
That's a good question. I don't think we know the answer to that, nor will we know the answer until February, March, or April, because this team, they did surprise a few folks last year. Nobody had them making the finals, nobody. And really a lot of people wondered if Kyrie and Luka would even work based on what happened when he was acquired at the end of the previous season, and they missed the playoffs completely. So Yeah, there was a lot of doubt last year. There is no doubt this year. They are the hunted, and deservedly so. And if as long as Luka's upright,
Yeah.
I think they're going to be okay.
What's the message that Jason Kidd has been stressing all throughout camp and into the preseason? Is there a particular area that he has really put emphasis on where he feels this team needs to get better in order to get over that hump and get back to the NBA Finals?
Oh, there's a couple of buzzwords. I mean, trust is the big one. I think
Yeah.
they want to make sure that all the new pieces, and there are some significant new pieces. Spencer Dinwiddie coming back, and
Yep.
Najee Marshall and Grimes are both going to be important pieces, as well as Klay, obviously. You got to learn how everybody fits together. Accepting roles is going to be a huge part of this. The heavy lifters are obvious. I mean, Kyrie and Luka are going to take this team as far as it goes.
Yeah.
But they do have to have guys that buy into the other roles. I think Derek Lively is a big X factor. If he grows, if he surprises us with some more weapons in his game, and I wrote about this on Mavs.com today about his he's put in a jump hook that is good with the left or the right hand. And as Klay said, it's kind of a lost art in the game today, but he's going to bring it back because he's really good at it. And if he can expand his game just a little bit, I think that tag team of him and Daniel Gafford is going to be really tough at center.
Yeah. Speaking of Gafford and Lively, what might that rotation or what might their usage look like? I mean, I know they're kind of interchangeable. Who could start? What might that look like?
They're starting out with a similar game plan as last year: 6 on, 6 off. I mean, somebody's going to start, play the first 6 minutes, then they're going to go sit, and the next guy comes in, and that's kind of be the rotation. And both of them playing around 24 minutes, 23 to 25 minutes, depending on who's hot. If somebody's really rolling that night, maybe they get 28 or 30 minutes. But we'll find out if that stays the whole season. I mean, at some point, you'd like to see one of them become the A player, if you will, and I think everybody realizes that Lively is the guy. I mean, he's just built for this, and he's been tutored under Tyson Chandler. Who are just, if you put them next to each other, other than the gray beard on Tyson, you'd think they were the same person from the back because they're built exactly the same, and they move the same. They play the position very similarly back when Tyson was with the team. So, I mean, down here, I think everybody, especially fans, they want Derek Lively to be great, and I think he's going to get a chance to do a lot of things for this team.
Yeah, he's still a young player in the league, still ascending.
20 years old.
Yeah, very young still. I believe it's his second year, correct?
Right.
Right. Now, you mentioned Lively and some of the big three, but is there another player on this team that you think could be an X factor for them all season long here?
I think PJ Washington is a guy he's going to be the starter at power forward, we'll call it, one of the forward spots. And he's kind of a interesting player. He's always been a good player. He was a good player in Charlotte, but he was on awful teams. Last year, he blossomed a little bit. He really found out, hey, this winning stuff is pretty cool. So he likes it here. He wants to be here. He's a native of North Dallas, and I think he's got to make shots. He's a good defender. He can just do a lot of things pretty well. He's not great at any of them, but he's pretty good at a lot of things. And if he can rebound a little, make some outside shots, and stop a few people at the other end, that's going to make this team really, really tough.
Yeah, and early in the conversation, you mentioned that Dallas has not had a problem scoring points, but another area they were very good last year is defense. I believe they finished as one of the top defensive teams in the league. Do you expect that to be another strength for them this year?
After the trade, they were very good. Before the trade, they were god awful. So quite frankly, they were terrible, and they knew it. and that's why they made those
Yeah.
deals for Gafford and PJ Washington, and they hope that this year it'll be a little bit better from the start. They don't expect it to be a finished product. They don't want it to be a finished product in November or December. I mean, teams that are really good, they know that you're going to build through this. There's going to be some bumps in the road. You're going to have some rough spots. You're going to lose 3 or 4 in a row once in a while. I mean, the West is just too tough, and teams just go through lulls that you just can't predict, but they're inevitable. So the key is to get through all that, learn from it, get better, and then come March, April, May, hopefully you're playing your best, and above all, they got to stay healthy at the key positions. And I mean, if one key injury could change the whole balance of the Western Conference, really.
Yeah. And it all gets underway for them next week against the San Antonio Spurs. And you can follow Mavs coverage all season long by following Eddie on X at Sefko. And you can follow all his work at Mavs.com. Eddie, thank you so much for your time today.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks.